these numbers about urbanization and have been around for a long time. People say, it's a lot of people are coming. We need to do something. So what we've been trying to do, both you in your role at Habitat and myself in this kind of modest role that I have here, is to change the discussion from the people to the land.
In all human history, we have reached 3.4, 3.5 billion urbanites, and just in 30, 40 years, we are going nearly to double this figure. You can imagine what that represents in terms of investment. The big challenge is that most of the urbanization that is taking place there is a spontaneous urbanization. It's just people occupying the land. And without urban planning, without any design of this occupation. And when people occupy spontaneously the land, they tend to occupy the land in a very unproductive way. And what we are advocating to these countries which are presenting this kind of challenge is that they should, as soon as possible, begin the process of planning the expansions of the cities, because the city growth is going to take place anyway. And the pathology and the problem of the spontaneous urbanization is that when it has taken place and you want to repair it, it becomes very expensive and it becomes politically usually a conflict because people don't want to be moved.
It's very appropriate for a former mayor of Barcelona to talk about planned city extensions, because there are two examples of planned city extensions at the scale that we're talking about. One is the 1811 plan for New York City, and one is the 1859 Ensanche plan for Barcelona. So it's very appropriate for us to be sitting here and talk about planned urban expansion. Beyond New York and Barcelona, we don't find anywhere cities that have made plans for a sevenfold expansion. And I very much appreciate, as you already know, your push to have planning before occupation. What needs to be done in advance?
We favor the drawing of the street pattern. The problem is that this is not in fashion. The fashion is master planning and zoning, as if the main objective of urban planning it's going to be zoning. And I am totally against that, because I don't think that zoning is the main function of planning. For me, the main function of planning is the definition and defense of the public space.
Cities thrive on public space. The streets are public goods, and if the markets was left to take care of the streets, is exactly when we get the kind of solutions of unplanned development, because all the market cares about is access to a given plot so that that plot can be developed.
Also, there's another urbanization mainly taking place in Africa and the poorest part of Asia, where there's a huge process of urbanization without industrialization, without jobs. That means where you can find 70% of the population which doesn't have formal jobs. And on top of that, we are seeing the emergence of the gated community as the most natural and the most common form of urbanization. Then we are coming back to the Middle Ages where we are walling the community, which at the end is the biggest contradiction of what is urbanization, because urbanization, we know by urban economy that produces the best of it when you have the interaction of the factors of production, you have intercommunicability, you have mixture of uses, mixture of social structures, and street life, and a place of where you can interrelate. My personal view is that the gated community is the failure of urbanization. If there's no functional state, if there's no public security, usually you have more insecurity. and at the end, the rich always they can pay their own security, but the public security is a public good, as transportation or the street. And this is our big challenge, how we can produce urbanization that it's livable in a new form for these 2 or 3 billion people that are going to urbanize in the next 30, 40 years in the developing world.
Thank you all for coming. And thank you again
Thank
for joining us.
Thank you.